Walmart loses a Doug. I'm sure they have a lot of Dougs. But
There's got to be a lot of Dougs at Walmart.
Stakeholder capitalism in Japan?
What?
In a very special asshole blame game.
Yeah, so we got some feedback. I don't know if you're a regular listener of our show.
Me? No, I don't actually listen to it.
We got some feedback that the blame game, which we occasionally do on our Tuesday shows, was a favorite. So I'm doing
one of my
mini.
favorites.
I'm doing a mini blame game.
It's one of my favorites to write and produce, mostly because I learn a lot. Because there's a lot. Oh boy, there's a lot of digging for that.
It took me like 6 hours of production work to get this one done. So
our show today is being sponsored by FreeFloatAnalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power, connections, and performance for free. You know, I don't want to tease anything that might be coming up later, but, or I should say, I don't want to steal the thunder of anything you might cover later, so I'll just tease this. If the Trump administration does manage to destroy ISS and Glass Lewis,
very excited.
Go to freeflowanalytics.com to get your data, and in fact, partner with us, and we could help you actually come up with the voting plans.
Honestly, there's nothing left for you to do.
Me?
For anyone,
Good.
whoever
I'll sign
wants
off.
to vote a proxy, then there's nothing left to do. All right, let's get this on the road because it looks like you
sounds
wrote
like that is a tease. I think Matt has more to say about that later. Let's go. Story of the week. Come on.
Pounds
Come on.
of
Come on.
food. All right, let's
no,
do
I
it.
just have a lot of notes. I'm really proud to announce that all four of my stories are kind of good old-fashioned corporate governance. I don't have a lot of dystopia. I don't have a lot of like bratty middle school tech CEO jerk trillionaires. I just have kind of some old-fashioned stories, ESG stories. This first one broke this morning. Walmart CEO Doug McMillon to retire. He's only 59 years old. To retire in January. And U.S. Operations Chief John Furner will take over. John Furner been at the company for 30 years, more than 30 years, I believe. For those of you who don't remember who Doug McMillon is or was, we talk a lot about Doug on this show because he used to be the chair of the Business Roundtable. And he came out in 2019, and then, and for the next few years after a while, it was still politically expedient. He had some incredible quotes that I want to applaud here as he's stepping down from Walmart. And I'm just going to read a few of them. He said, "We simply won't be here if we don't take care of the very things that allow us to exist, our associates, customers, suppliers, and the planet. That's not up for debate." He said, I think the growing interest in stakeholder capitalism stems from companies genuinely invested in doing good for our world because it's the
shareholders, right?
It's the right thing to do, and because businesses who take this approach are stronger. Who could argue with this coming from an incredible tenure at one of the most powerful companies in the world? He also said, big problems don't rest on the shoulders of government or corporations alone. We need to reinvent capitalism. I mean, blah, blah, blah. He actually
sounds
had
like Zoran
lot more to
Mamdani.
say. Actually, he does.
Doesn't
You're
he?
absolutely right.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder this. Because, again, I'm not going to even be cynical about this. I appreciate what he had to say about that. He's 59 years old. Unlike Bob Iger, he didn't have to quit and come back 17 times and then end up like screwing it all up in the end by being a buffoon. Maybe who knows? Maybe he actually might run for office. I could see this dude running for office.
I hope
right?
not.
I could see it happening.
Well, first of all,
I'm just saying
let's
he's in
be
a
clear.
position to do it. He's in the position to do it.
Because
59 is young.
He's retiring in January.
Yeah, before
But
you get to that.
his retirement isn't a retirement.
Okay, no. You're wrong. Let me get to this. And first of all, let me also I can't believe I'm like supporting Walmart. But here we go.
I'm confused.
Let me tip my hat to the compensation committee because as it turns out, you basically need a black woman. You need a black woman to figure stuff out, or you need at least a majority of women. The compensation committee, which is in charge of succession planning at this company, for executives.
Is that a thing? Compensation committee
is led by Carla Harris, black woman Carla Harris, and another former CEO, Marissa Mayer. Say what you will about her, but the two women control this committee. Now, here's where you're wrong. It sounds like that McMillan will linger for a while, for about a year.
Yeah,
but he is COVID. Not. But then he will step down from the board in June, which is less than a year away, and then he will leave the company. Remember, they already have one of the in-laws of the Walton family, Greg Penner, is the chair. Yeah, the new guy won't. The new guy, John Furner, will not become chair. Doug McMillan is leaving the company. He will leave the. I mean, I think it's somewhat normal to stay around for a little while and kind of because this is like a pretty sudden announcement. Maybe he's going to spend a year kind of handing off duties, but he's leaving.
Yep,
this is an actual succession plan.
He will continue through January 2027.
Okay, but that's a little more than a year. And he won't be as an executive.
He will be. He will continue. It says he will continue in his capacity as an executive officer. He will report to the chair, who is a Walton relative, and will continue to be employed as an associate of the company. And
but then
he will get
be
a salary. The only thing, if he was
leaving
the chair,
did I misread this? No, he's leaving.
If he was made the chair, then he would be called an executive chair, because the Waltons control the company through dual class shares. They installed Greg Penner as the chair. There wasn't room for an executive co-chair. Doug McMillan will leave. That's the one upside, that he will leave.
But that's big.
But he's getting an executive salary and will stay on the board for more than a year.
That's look. To me, this is a victory. I mean, that he's not lingering. I mean, look. I mean,
that
again,
we're calling this a victory is
I don't. But this is an actual succession plan. He's actually leaving. But you're right. It is a little weird because it's at a company that's controlled by a family. Greg Penner
who's
again.
Succeeding him.
Greg Penner in law. What?
No, who's the succession to of? Do we know the guy who's? Because it's a guy, right, taking over.
John Furner.
Yeah, but do we know much about him? He's just a Walmart guy, right?
Yeah, he's been at the company for over 30 years. He's the head of Walmart's U.S. business. He's had leadership roles.
There's nothing else about. Did he marry a different Walton?
No, I think he's actually not. He's not related to a Walton.
That's what I'm confused by. How did they choose him?
Well, he's a good white American dude.
Oh, okay. All right, as long as we're clear.
Right? He's not some Cracker Barrel DEI expert, or he's not.
Ooh, let's get to that.
He's not Barack Hussein Obama. He's John Furner. Look, I mean, honestly,
I'm comforted.
I actually can't criticize this for a company that is basically run by a family that's been doing well. The CEO has succeeded. Why would you? This is an instance where you would hire from within. Why would, unlike Target, which is a shit show, and should be ashamed of itself.
Okay, true.
They're the ones who should be hiring from external sources, right, to change the culture. Why would Walmart change the culture?
Are we revisionist on Walmart?
Can't believe
Walmart
I'm supporting Walmart.
Literally was the evil empire. We used to complain about how Walmart was putting small businesses out of business, and then we stopped complaining about that when Amazon came along and put them all out of business instead.
Look, and I want to follow up on this because all the reporting I saw that one of the things that McMillan accomplished here is a huge investments into labor. I'd like to see. I'd like to actually see the differences in the wages and the salaries, and see if he actually did make a difference there. I know there've been I've seen a lot of headlines about managers getting raises and all that, but I wonder if that's actually just press release, or if he actually is paying the people more, because that's the most important part of his legacy, if it's true.
Also, the most recent part of his legacy is the rollback on DEI because of Robbie Starbuck under Doug McMillan. Rolled back.
Walmart rolled back on DEI?
Yes, of course they did. Robbie Starbuck targeted Walmart.
I thought it was just Target. Both Target and Walmart.
And the irony here is...
Okay, but you're blaming McMillan for this. That's the
No.
Walton family. No,
That is the Walton family, but like Doug McMillan's the CEO. So what's the point of the CEO? Why do we celebrate the
not-
CEO?
I'm not championing the company. I'm
You are
just championing a
confusing
smooth
me.
succession.
You are-
I'm championing a smooth succession plan. I don't know what I'm championing. You
I don't know
I'm
what your
championing?
positivity is about here.
Here's what it is. He's like the last credible source in corporate America that has any remaining quotes on stakeholder capitalism. So
I mean,
I'm
like from
I'm
10
putting
years
that
ago or
pin on
whatever,
him. I
right?
know, but to me that's his legacy. He actually dared say it.
What was the last thing he said about stakeholder capitalism? Did he
No,
say
you're
it was
probably
dead
right.
yet? Like,
I'm not
mean,
saying I love Doug
this
McMillan.
is-
I'm saying I'm glad he's leaving. All right, in an efficient manner. Let's go to the second story of the week. Okay, there was a new prime minister in Japan, Sanae Takaichi. She is known to be,
the rock and roll prime minister.
she's on the right. She's their version of MAGA. But okay, and I picked this because I'm on a stakeholder capitalism high this week. This is why I
Guess
picked this
so.
story. The headline is that she says that firms are focusing too much on shareholders. She said, quote, I will revise the corporate governance code to encourage companies to appropriately distribute resources not just to shareholders but to employees. She
Oh.
said that she considers excessive hoarding of capital to be a problem, and she wants them to invest in people, including through wage hikes. She said, quote, I would like to see firms conduct business not just thinking about clients, but also considering their contribution to the broader society. This is their version of the right wing, which is completely different than our version,
Also,
where we are basically shutting down anything that
we are
doesn't-
killing
doesn't
poor
please
people.
the CEO. Yeah, and
we
we're like
are-
giving monstrous raises to CEOs, letting them
We
build
are
ballrooms.
selling poor people crypto
Yes.
and taking away their food.
So
That's
I don't know
So
what
that's
this is
good.
going to mean, but I applaud this, at least this sort of initial shift to a stakeholder system.
I have already heard that there's a lot of pushback on her because she's made her employees, like
Yeah.
her
Her employees?
yeah, like her executive team or
Oh,
staff or
at
like
the-
whatever,
yeah,
like
in
you
the
know,
government.
literally work 16-hour days. Like and like that she
Yeah, welcome to Japan.
Well, the criticism is, aren't we trying to stop this in Japan?
No.
Why are you doing it?
No. In fact,
But
we reported on this show that she is absolutely not trying to stop this.
No,
In fact,
she's
one of-
not. She's not.
One of the things that she
She's
said
just
while
trying to
she's
give him a little
running,
more money to work 16
she wants
hours
to go
a
back
day.
to it. Yeah, she wants to go back to it, like working all the time.
Yeah.
Next story, but she,
These are
we could-
confusing. These are like
they can work all
stakeholder
the time, but
capitalism,
she'll
but
just-
not.
she'll pay them more. They won't. I mean, they won't have any time to enjoy their lives, but she'll
Yeah,
pay them more at least.
Yeah, sure. Okay, here's
I didn't
here's
say
like
these-
$10 extra. Now work till you're dead.
Not everything has to be black and white, Matt. Not everything is good or bad, like intrinsically. You have to do the math on your own. You
This
have
is
to
confusing
do
to me.
Yeah. All right. This third one is not confusing. It's pretty straightforward. Disney ditches diversity and DEI in business report for the first time since 2019. I mostly love this story because I was just like giggling at the Fox business perspective on all this. So, they left. So for the first time in 5 years, they left out the words diversity. They left out the words inclusion. They left out DEI. They left out diversity, equity, inclusion. It all appeared 0 times. But this article said, while the term equity appeared 130 times, it was only used in a financial context.
Oh, woo.
So this is what the people of Fox are scared about. They're scared of equality. This is what gets them equality.
Yeah.
How is equality discriminate? Who is equality discriminating against? Which subset of our culture
White
gets
men.
discriminated against? Wait, what? Equality? So
Yeah, it's
if I have
unequal
2
now.
donuts
Okay.
and they have 2 donuts, who is suffering in that equation?
Well, they have 3 donuts and you have 1 donut.
Oh, so
right?
I'm taking their
So you're
third
taking my
to-
donut.
to-
Like what is equal about you reaching over the table and
Yeah.
taking my donut from me that I got myself, right? Like so that's not
So-
equal.
Also, Disney removed this year 2 of its DEI programs called Reimagine Tomorrow and the Disney Look. One of the sections that they took out of their reports are a program that engaged creative executives from underrepresented backgrounds. I mean, this is what Disney's
Yeah.
afraid of.
That was like the Peltz move, right? That was
But
basically.
this is what they're and let me just tell you a few other Disney headlines this week, just to give you an idea of what's going on at Disney. And none of this actually has to do with the Jimmy Kimmel stuff, but Disney CEO Bob Iger wants people to use AI to make their own content for Disney Plus. Like,
Yeah, I
that
heard
sounds horrible. Disney is losing millions a day in its fight with YouTube TV, and Disney's CEO sequel, that's talking about Bob Iger coming back, is not having a Hollywood ending. So, fun times over there at Disney. I mean, I don't know, who knows what's going on there.
I actually went through their, so it didn't say it in their 10K, but they do. I did look through their CSR, like their impact report. It used
Okay,
to
but
be
everyone
CSR
knows
now.
that that's just written by a bunch of ESG.
They got
wonks.
rid of the word diversity in the
They did
impact
too.
report. It
God.
appeared
What?
3 times,
What?
and it only appeared in the context of like biodiversity, or like
Wait,
it, like,
okay.
appeared a couple times in there, but not that
Okay.
it's mostly been stripped out.
So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, even though I personally don't believe in any of this bullshit. But let's just say they believe that by having official programs that hire based on diversity metrics, they think that's illegal and they might get sued. But to just completely scrub out, to woke wash everything out, we can't even talk about like non-cis white cisgendered males, or like that's it. Like,
If they were
we can't even
like,
talk about it.
applying for a grant in the Trump administration, that
Oh, they'll
one
just
of
do
the
a keyword search?
Remember, the keyword search was
Well,
woman, right? Like
good.
if the grant had the word woman in it, it was not funded.
Well, it won't matter soon because as the government adopts AI and they're going to use Grok AI, they're going to get everything wrong anyway. So what does it matter? You know that Grok's going to say that a document that says the word diversity 15 times used it 0 times. So,
Yeah. Also,
it can't
that
count.
it doesn't matter what Disney said; it was woke. I'm sure it would just say that it was woke.
And my fourth story of the week, and I won't spend a lot of time because I think you're going to cover this in your section. But again, some good old-fashioned corporate governance nonsense here, and more political theater. Activist investor pushes Cracker Barrel shareholders to oust DEI specialist, whatever that is.
Yeah. Let's come back to that.
Is that like a sniper in the army? What is a DEI specialist? Because I don't believe for a second this would imply that the only reason why this person is on the board is because they're a DEI specialist. Like that's the only reason why they wanted them on the board.
They did join in 2020, which was the
Okay, so
height
this is the time of the woke
DEI.
washing.
Yeah, this is when everybody was woke washing to begin with. That said,
So
I don't.
So he's to blame for the sign. Is that what we're led to believe? The sign.
That is apparently. But let's come back to this.
Okay.
He
He
it's
got
not
out
gonna be
his
the
big-
story of the week.
He got out his big eraser that like erases like white people
White
from
people from
things.
signage.
From
Yeah, just
signage.
signage though, right? Like,
And then and then they
and
walked in while he was
degenderizes
doing it, and he turned around and he was like, "Oh, whoa,
yeah, that's exactly how. It
what are you
played out.
doing here?" Yeah, okay. All right.
And they're like, "You're fired." I
Those are my 4 stories.
I'm gonna go with because
Doug.
I
Come on.
can't.
No,
yeah,
not
it's
Doug.
Doug. It's Doug all
Doug.
day long because Doug's been there for a while. Walmart's a big company.
This is our old-fashioned bread and butter, just covering people.
but
right?
I am sad that Doug
What?
McMillan, no longer the head of the Business Roundtable board, no longer the
Who
head
is
of
the head now? Is it Mary
It's
Barra?
the guy from
Who's the head?
Cisco. It's
Oh,
it's
thank
the guy
God.
from
Yeah,
Cisco.
he's
yeah. So we're
he's
saved.
a real, yeah,
We're-
one of our leading
stakeholder-
intellectuals.
Stakeholder capitalism is safe.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to do good list? Let's do.
Yeah,
some
let's do good
things.
list. All right, moving along. Are we moving along? I can't tell.
I can't tell. I have a lot though, so
Yeah, you're playing a game. You go first.
I have just a one ironic one, or like tongue-in-cheek one. I saw
That's
this
who you
headline.
are. That's how you
Netflix-
are. Yeah.
Netflix CTO, that's Chief Technology Officer for those of
Mm-hmm.
you who are keeping score. Netflix CTO says the company has, quote, no formal performance reviews.
Oh.
I think
This is
that's
a
fabulous.
vibe, a
Yeah,
smell,
well, like,
an odor.
so they describe it, okay? They describe it as like continuous like feedback mechanisms in which they just
You
are
suck. You
always
suck. You
talking
suck.
to the
You suck.
person.
You're good. Yeah.
Yeah, and they give them the opportunity to leave. Is like the way they described it.
Well,
I just
Netflix
thought it-
doesn't. They have no
Look.
formal vacation either, right? Like, isn't it like unlimited vacation, or do they get rid of that?
Yes, and no one ever
Yeah.
takes it. But
No
be
one takes it,
honest. Be honest with yourself. When we were at the mothership, MSCI,
Yes.
we had annual performance reviews.
Yeah.
Everyone we know in other companies and other industries, they pretty much all have annual performance reviews. That is like 1 week a year where you have to schedule a sit down for 40 minutes with your manager. They tell you 70
Everyone-
things you suck
Yeah.
at.
And
that-
everyone, and everyone bullshits the things they do and don't do during the
Yes.
year to present to their manager.
Yeah, you got to like when it's almost like when my brother was 11 or 12, he was trying to get like a dog walking gig in the neighborhood, so he handed out resumes and he said in it that he was he was like working as a janitor, but he called it like, clean maintenance
Well,
services, like you
Yeah,
brush
there was
everything
actually
up.
I remember as a kid, there was a joke in the Flintstones about that. Fred was a janitor, but he called himself a custodial engineer.
Yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah.
it was something like that.
That Fred Flintstone I'm referring to.
We all hated that process. We
course.
would hear things in that once a year process that we didn't hear all year.
Yeah, and
Is
also
it-
it was completely
isn't it good?
subjective. It was completely subjective. Like despite the fact that it was basically tied to your bonus and your promotion, there was no real understanding of how the points added up or what it meant, especially compared to your peers. None of it made
And
sense.
they at Netflix apparently they tell them on an ongoing basis that they suck, which means you're not getting a bonus. You can budget
Yeah.
better. Like it just seems good overall. Good.
I'm confused by that doesn't make me feel good. Mine is a bit more on the socialist tip, the anti-billionaire tip.
shocked.
My headline is from Fast Company. Should we really blame billionaires for our financial struggles? In fact, more Americans say yes. So 67% said billionaires are creating more of an unfair society. Here's the one that shocked me. There is a question. Should the law limit wealth accumulation? Even Republicans have gone up 12% in this metric since last year to just under 50%. Just under 50% of Republicans think that we should limit wealth accumulation. Now, we talked about last week about, or was it a couple weeks ago, about this anti-DEI push in elections.
Yeah.
My sense is that Trump and Musk are such disgusting buffoons, such greedy, gross, creepy, rapey, none of this is hyperbole.
No.
That it actually is helping the country go back the other way now, which I guess is common in the nature of the election cycles in America. We're commonly go on cycles. We go back and forth, which is leading me back to this point, which is why did all the companies and CEOs immediately have to abandon their DEI and diversity programs, knowing that if you just waited, Americans might actually want it again in a few years. Like,
Well, you just know the ones that did
same with the environment.
abandon
I
it.
should say same for their fight against the climate crisis.
But the ones that do abandon it, that just tells you something about them, right? Like that they're
They
willing
never
to
believed it in the first place.
You
Yeah.
should never. In fact, you should never believe those companies ever again. Anything they say. But I want to know who are the 33% that say billionaires are creating a more fair society. Like,
They're
are
the
those
people
just
with
the
last
billionaires?
names? Their last names are Teal and Ellison.
I was going to say, like, who's on that side of the fence?
Well, there is that bullshit trickle down theory of economics that was taught during the Reagan era, which is that
That's worked out well.
with more rich people. They're just gonna spread the joy. They're just gonna
because
spread the dollar bills.
Every yacht that they buy, someone's got to
Yeah.
wax it for them, right?
Right.
Like that's a job created.
All right, that's my
Um,
good Lias. Let's move on.
All right, let's
Did we
move
vote
on.
on
There's
good
no
Lias?
winners.
No.
There's no winners this week. I changed up.
Good. That means I
usually
get
do
to participate.
Assholiest of the week, and this
And
week
usually
I'm doing.
I'm angry the whole time.
Well, this time you're going to do which asshole do you blame of the week?
I love this. I love
And
blaming people.
there are 3 stories, and I'm
Yeah.
going to give you a series of people, and you just pick
Oh,
who you
no.
blame.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll try to pay attention. Let's go.
All right, first story. Rivian just doubled
Yes.
its CEO's salary and gave him a $4.6 billion pay package.
Almost one of my stories of the week. I'm glad you're covering this. Go ahead.
So his salary doubled from $1 million to $2 million,
Which is
That's-
meaningless in the
this is-
overall context of CEO pay, and
Yeah,
the
honestly.
writer of this article has no understanding of the
Yeah,
subject. which
they
is
made
fine.
it sound like like
It's
it
not
was a big
important.
deal, but it's not a big deal. That part's
No.
not the big deal. The $4.6 billion
The
pay
pay
package is the
package,
big
yeah.
deal. All right, so the way the pay package works.
What's his name
is-
again? Who's the
his
name?
name
Who's
is
the Rivian
Robert
CEO?
Scaringe.
Okay.
Or
And remember this.
Scaringe.
And notice I asked that because this is a car company that, let's be honest, I think it's primarily American. No,
It is all American, yeah.
it has basically no market share. I mean, yeah, maybe I've seen
They
two.
sold 40,000, I think, last
Okay,
year.
40,000. Yeah, I've seen like two in my town, my city, but this is not an important car company. I'll just say it. I'll just start with that premise.
Well, not currently, but
Not
wait until you hear the
currently,
pay
right.
package.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So first of all, you have to understand the pay package a little bit. It's Muskian.
Don't want to.
Okay. We'll kind
Doug
of come back
McMillan
to.
would hate it. Yeah.
But 4.6 billion is the potential earnings here. Who do you blame? Which asshole would you choose to blame for this pay package? Your
Yeah.
first option's obvious. Who is it? Who's your first
Elon
option?
Musk,
No. That's your
Denholm?
fourth option.
Robin Denholm. Go
Your
ahead.
first option is the chair of the comp committee, a guy named Sanford Schwartz, who has 2% influence on the board because Robert Scaringe, the CEO, has 80% influence and 100% of the Class B voting shares.
Oh.
So that helps him because he can vote out the entire board. But in the 8K announcing the new pay package, it actually says, quote, on November 6, 2025, the compensation committee of the board granted an option to purchase 36.5 million shares
Oh
of
my
Class
God.
A stock to Dr.
36
Robert Scaringe.
Wow.
Okay.
That's insane. Remember,
lot of
just
shares.
for context, back at the corporate library, we had an official term for a mega grant of stock options, which we deemed to be excessive, and we would flag it and talk about it. And that number was 500,000 options was considered
So
excessive.
not 36.5 million.
Never an unheard of
It
number.
wouldn't even
An
occur to you.
obscene, unheard of number. Yeah.
The grant value is obviously on the 5th or 6th of November, so it's about $15 a share. But the fun part is they also wrote the foregoing summary of terms. They list the terms in the 8K. The foregoing summary of terms of the 2025 CEO award does not purport to be complete.
Oh.
They didn't give the contract. They said refer to a 2021 plan
Oh, no.
for terms and stuff. But there's
Yeah.
no contract for the milestones that he has to hit. There's just a list of sort of vague milestones.
So
Now-
it's discretionary targets.
Sanford, they're not really discretionary. There's some numbers behind them, but it's hard to tell. Sanford
Okay.
Schwartz, who's the head of the comp committee, the thing to know about him is he's an executive at Cox Enterprises. You know Cox
Yeah.
Communications, like your cable company in New England?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I know it.
The one
have
that
them up here
nobody
in New
uses
England, do
because
they?
they're horrible.
Okay.
They're the worst one. Well, he works there. Apparently, Cox Enterprises invested $350 million in Rivian in 2022.
Oh, okay.
And at the
so
time-
the hope is, yeah.
At the time, Schwartz said, "My hope is with the skills that we have and with all the things that we're learning, that will be the chief wholesale remarketer for all Rivian someday."
So this is like an investment. This is like part of
This is-
enhancing the Cox's investment.
my buddy, who I invested in, or this guy I invested in.
Well, he's a strong
I am
case to
now-
blame.
I
It's a
am
strong
now
case.
chair of the comp committee, and now I'm going to pay him. Right?
He's
Like, I'm gonna
blamable.
make He's blamable.
He's blamable.
He's blamable.
Who else?
All right, number 2, Robert Scaringe himself, the
CEO, Robert Scaringe. Yeah.
Because in addition to leading this money-losing company that is Rivian,
Yeah, that's the key, right? Money
they
losing company.
they don't make money. There's a money
On Shark Tank, they would ridicule this man.
He actually had this year created not one but 2 separate spin-off companies.
Really?
One called Mind Robotics, where Scaringe is also on the board and owns 10% of the company. They
What is
make
with these-
robots
What is with these guys?
Not a joke.
What?
They make robots. It's the same. It's the same thing. But he also owns. He's on the board of Also Inc., which does micro mobility. It's like scooters, electric scooters, and electric
Yeah.
bikes.
If he
and
wants
stuff like that.
if he wants almost a $5 billion pay package, what he should be only working at Rivian.
companies.
Only at Rivian.
Like
Only.
and Rivian doesn't even make money yet. What are you doing at 3 separate companies and you don't make money at the first
I mean,
one?
I'm pretty sure that even when we worked at the mothership and we made crappy salaries, even there you needed some level of like supervisory acceptance or whatever if you were to work other jobs.
Yeah,
Weren't
imagine
you?
if you wanted.
You
to,
weren't
like,
really even allowed.
I couldn't get a
And
job.
you couldn't
at,
join
like,
a board, certainly.
I definitely couldn't join a board, but I couldn't even work in a bagel company if
Oh my
like
God.
MSCI
All right.
found out, they would have
This is
fired me for
ridiculous.
that.
This is ridiculous.
He did say at one point that he estimated he spent, quote, about 5%, end quote, of his time with his wife and 3 kids.
Oh, I was going to say, but according to Wikipedia, they got divorced this year.
Yep, they just got divorced this year.
Oh,
I can't
well
I
then-
can't figure out why.
Well-
Probably just 5% of your time with them.
Then maybe I don't know what to say about that. I mean, he probably did a favor to his former
I'm
wife.
sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, so Robert Scaringe, he does have dual class shares. He owns all the voting rights. So even Sanford Schwartz on the comp
So how
committee
can I
is
blame
chosen
Schwartz?
by
How can I blame
Scaringe,
Schwartz? Yeah.
right?
Okay, who
Like,
else? Because Scaringe
you
seems
could
like a
blame
blamable thing.
dual class shares themselves because
You mean
that's
just-
the reason why he can
just the
choose the board
idea-
and get paid.
You mean the actual
Well, his dual class
shares?
shares,
Or
his dual
okay,
class
all
shares,
right.
because
Go ahead.
that enables him to
Yeah.
hire and fire everyone on the board. Or you can blame Elon Musk.
Okay.
Here are the tranches of the Scaringe. Now, Elon Musk just got paid
I hate
an
all
extra
this.
$1 trillion pay package.
Can I just blame everyone and move on? I hate this. I hate this.
And it's like an 11 tranche or 12 tranche plan where he hits certain milestones and he gets each tranche and they vest. This is exactly the same. There are, first of all, 22 million of Scaringe's shares, 60% of the shares, are 11 tranches for meeting share price targets between $40 and $140 per share. So 60% he gets paid if just the share price goes up. So all he has to do is make meme stock out of it, right? Like, and
Yeah,
then the
sure,
share price
sure.
goes up,
Which
he
he
gets
already
paid,
has a model for that with Elon Musk.
which he has a model for. Now, apparently, no one cares about Robert Scaringe, so it's a little different.
They might
from
care
most in
now
that
that
way.
now that he's entering into this like billionaire baby category, maybe they'll pay more attention.
I mean, one can hope, because Lord knows we need another billionaire. So that's 2.78-ish billion that he can make just on share price go up. Okay, just on meme.
Okay.
7.3 million shares are on 3 tranches of income, and 7.3 million shares are on 3 tranches of cash flow. There are no numbers for those. There's
Sure.
not a number. I've looked through
Well, they'll
every
adjust it.
filing this year.
Yeah, they'll adjust it when they need to.
So I have no idea how he
So-
actually gets paid on those.
Let me ask you this: does any of this matter? Does he control the vote,
He controls the vote of the company.
or is he? Wait, so he actually is voting? He is allowed to vote on this pay package.
I only think disinterested voters can vote on the pay package, but it's non-binding anyway.
but I'm
if-
saying like he controls the voting power at this company. No.
Well, yes, except that like Sanford Schwartz, as an executive at Cox Enterprises, is an investor in Cox, in Rivian, and owns voting
Well, look,
blocks, right? Like the whole
I-
thing's a joke.
I hate to simplify my who I blame here, but and I think you made certainly we can make a case that Elon Musk and Robin Denholm should be blamed for creating a model that is
That's what, yeah, it's
horrible.
horrible.
Although then I guess you would blame the investors at Tesla because Elon Musk does not actually control that vote. So maybe you'd blame Tesla investors. But and I could make a case for Sanford Schwartz, although he's just a version of Robin Denholm, just trying to get rich in some way or other. To me, it's clearly Robert Scaringe because there's no model in history that that you build a successful company through your own personal greed. That model doesn't exist. We've built incredible companies in the East, in the West, and across the globe, and greed was never necessarily a part of it. So I'm questioning his ego, his greed, his petulance, everything. I'm questioning him.
I mean, I don't know anything.
I'm blaming
about him.
him.
I'm just wondering who.
I'm blaming him.
Which asshole paid him? All right, you blame him. All right, next. Here's the story. Here's the headline: Verizon to cut about 15,000 jobs.
Wow, that's a lot. How many do they employ?
A lot.
That's a lot of. But that's a lot of people.
So there's some obvious choices here, right?
That's approximately 15% of their workforce. That's significant. It's very significant.
It's a massive layoff,
especially to announce this a month before the holiday season.
Oh, I'm sure they'll get a nice holiday bonus on their way out.
So yeah. So at least half of Verizon right now is crapping themselves out of fear. At least half of them.
At least half, yeah. So do you blame?
Yeah.
The old new CEO, Dan Schulman. And I say old because he's been on the board for 7 years as lead independent director, but he's now the new CEO. So he's
the PayPal guy. Yeah.
He's the PayPal guy.
He seems like the obvious person to blame. Yeah.
He penned his welcome memo to employees by saying, quote, the biggest competitive advantage we have is our team. That
85% of the team. Not that 15% of the team.
Early October, he said that. And then 20 days later, for his first earnings call, he came up with some more inspiration for his employees. Quote, to fund our investments in growth, we must significantly cut costs. We will reduce our costs to serve, streamline our operating model, and be much more capital efficient.
I love that.
Every employee loves. Nothing is as inspiring as being capital efficient.
I love that these so-called geniuses come in and they know the company so well already that they have earmarked 15,000 human beings with souls to eliminate that, and they haven't even spent a single amount of effort trying to decide whether they could reuse those people in the company for whatever they're building, for whatever their growth is. They didn't spend an ounce of time or energy thinking, instead of firing these people, can we relocate them in different departments? Can we use them for other things? They're just like, no, we've looked at it for 5 days and we're gonna fire a bunch of you because that's just
this is the confusing part, because my second option of who to blame is the new old CEO, Hans Vestberg.
Okay, is he still on the board? I forget what he's
still on the board.
Yeah,
he's still on the board as a special advisor. He was in his farewell post on Instagram, because he didn't pen a letter that, if he did, it didn't become public.
On Instagram?
If he wrote a letter to employees, it didn't become public. But he did do a post on Instagram in which he's like an awkward dude. Like, he was awkwardly hand gesturing and talking. His farewell post said, quote, this is a quote, I've dedicated my life, the last 9 years almost, to Verizon.
Well, he is 10 years old, so that's a big part of his life.
I just cracked up when I had to watch that like 6 times in a row to make sure I was like understanding it properly with the captions and like.
He joined Verizon in 2017.
Yes, he's been there for 9 years.
No, not even.
Vestberg actually said in an interview that he's been keeping a daily score of his emotional state. Do you remember this? We covered this.
Yeah, I do remember that.
He scores himself between 0 and 10.
European. It's very European of him.
And if he scores below a certain level, he actually works alone. He says he takes no meetings if he's a 1 or a 2. Like he is very careful about that. I'm wondering if
very creepy.
Having your ex-lead director as a human body shield for firing 15,000 people that 7 minutes ago were your employees, but you're still on the board. I wonder if that's a 7 out of 10 for his emotional state, a 2 out of 10.
Well,
what is that? What does that do?
Funding their investments in growth.
But like, Dan Schulman clearly was sitting on the board as a lead independent director. Did he say to Hans Vestberg, we need to fire 15,000 people? And Hans was like, no. And they were like, okay, I'll be the CEO and you be on the board. After we fire them, we can swap back. Like the whole situation is
I'm surprised.
Bizarre.
You know, I'm surprised most about this is that this is clearly a company that is struggling. So my intuition would tell me that Hans Vestberg created this situation that needed to fire 15,000 people. I'm surprised this wasn't a glass cliff hire. I'm surprised we didn't hire a woman or like a Southeast
clean
Asian
it.
CEO. Like
Yeah, it's
I'm
clean.
surprised it was another white man, because for Dan Schulman, this could be a difficult turnaround. I mean, people
Well, I
already
don't-
hate these type of companies.
Let's say that you are 100% correct and that it's a shit show there and Hans Vestberg is to blame. Why is he still on the board?
Well,
Why
this
do you
is
keep
just-
him
This is
around
why
at
I was
all?
so gleeful about McMillan leaving Walmart, and they're not
Wait,
even struggling.
Yeah, in 2027, he'll finally leave. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
He's leaving the board in June, Doug McMillan.
all I want to know is Hans Vestberg,
Yeah.
if you sucked at your job there and needed to be replaced, why do you need to sit on the board and give advice to the guy who was on the board who replaced you? What advice are you going to give him? Like, oh, Carl in, like the mailroom, he's real good. Don't fire him. Definitely fired Linda, though. Like, she sucks. Like,
Let's not
what
forget that
advice
he's
are you
probably-
giving?
His golden parachute, at least the value of it back in 2021 was up to $40 million. He's also getting a lot of money just to walk away. But yeah, okay. So
Walk to the chair
yeah,
next to
Hans
Dan
Vestberg.
Schulman.
That's yours. Who else am I blaming at
Last
Verizon?
option, the last single person is chair of the Human Resources Committee of the board, Laxman Narasimhan.
Okay, perfect example. Now, and this is a coincidence, but Laxman was the Glass Cliff Southeast Asian
For
CEO who took
Starbucks.
over Starbucks,
Right.
who, and one of the reasons why these companies appoint usually women or people of color to struggling companies as CEO is because they know that if the turnaround plan's not working in the first like 14 months, they can just fire them. They can just be
they
like,
get rid of him. Yeah.
nobody cares about you in the first place. Like, good luck to you. And that's what happened with Laxman at Starbucks. They barely gave him time to figure
But
stuff out.
then, but he's got experience then, like
Yeah.
getting sidelined
Human
and
Resources
fired.
Committee.
So maybe
Human Resources Committee, is that their version of the Compensation Committee?
that's their version of like the NAMI, like it does
Nomination
human
committee?
human talent, human
Really,
capital
Laxman
committee,
Narasimhan, the guy who
chair of the board, chair of that
the
committee.
guy who
rather.
was running Starbucks when there's still like barista problems and striking. And,
Yeah. When they could like fighting against unions with
yeah.
like
Oh,
stuff.
that's
Yeah.
an odd choice. Yeah.
And then last, not a single thing, but do we blame the Verizon employees who just cost too much? Like, do we just
Yeah,
blame the employees
sure, yeah.
themselves?
How dare they be born in the first place?
Who do
Uh,
you choose?
Now, my instinct for the last company was to go right to the CEO and
Which
and
one?
well, no, I'm saying for Rivian.
Oh,
that was
oh,
my,
for Rivian,
my
yeah.
target was the greedy CEO. It just seemed too obvious. This one, at first, I was like, you got to blame Dan Schulman, but I think the real answer here is Hans Vestberg, because not only is he lingering, but he clearly created this situation in the first place. He handed off these problems to Dan Schulman, and they probably picked Dan Schulman because Dan Schulman was more than willing to fire a bunch of people.
Dan Schulman was on the board for 7 years.
he was the
and
lead independent director,
independent
yeah.
director, right?
But I'm
Like,
gonna blame. I'm still blaming Hans Vestberg.
It's really hard to pick because they both.
Still blaming Hans Vestberg.
All right, last one.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this at the top as one of the stories of the week: the activist investor push against Cracker Barrel.
Oh, this is terrible. I hate this story. We could spend.
oust
I mean, we're not
DEI
going
specialist.
to. Don't turn off this podcast. We're not going to. But we could spend 6 hours talking about how horrible the situation is.
Well, let's make it easy and just you can
I'm
pick
not
somebody
going
to
to.
blame for this
Yeah.
situation. Number one option: CEO Julie Fells Massino.
So I'm blaming the woman who took over less than 2 years ago to turn around a struggling company.
Yeah. So, but clearly,
Yeah.
she's the one who destroyed shareholder value by trying to reach beyond.
She's the
white,
glass cliff hire. She's
over
the, that I just
all
referred to.
wearing octogenarians. Like she's
What-
the one who was like, I'm trying to appeal to a bigger audience,
Yeah.
and it killed shareholder value.
Well, for those who don't know, a glass cliff hire essentially is when a company hires a woman
to clean up a mess.
to
Yeah.
clean up a mess, but the mess is so big that she's teetering on the edge of the cliff, and Julie's about to be pushed off this cliff. It's obvious.
So you could blame her.
And we can. I will bet you all the Bitcoin in my backyard that's buried in my backyard, all the big chunks
All
of
of it,
Bitcoin I
yeah.
have.
Uh-huh.
that the next CEO will be a man. I mean, I will bet you all of it.
No doubt. Do you blame the DEI specialist? So
Wait,
this
who's
is
that?
a man on the board. His name
Malcolm
is
X.
Gilbert Davila.
Is Malcolm X still alive? Did they dig him up and put him on the board?
So Gilbert Davila is like, he works at a firm that does like diversity and inclusive marketing.
Oh, no.
Like that's his background. It's actually like a firm that like works with Nike and like it's like he's like a real.
Wait, so you're telling me
human.
that in America, which is it's increasingly heading to being like only like 50% white, right? I don't know where we're at right now, but we're getting pretty close to that. You're telling me that all these non-white people, they also buy stuff? You should market to them too?
I don't know. You have to ask Gilbert that. I don't know.
Do they like watch sports, listen to music too? Like they do they buy clothes, everything?
I
They eat
know. I
out?
know they watch
No.
sports, but I don't.
They don't
I don't
do
know about
this.
music.
Yeah,
That's
so this is
unclear
the
to
guy
me.
they're mad at. They're mad at a guy who's in marketing. Okay.
So he clearly DEI'd the logo because his specialty is DEI, and he's
by
a brown
DEI,
man.
By DEI, you mean they just modernized a logo at a company that was struggling?
I mean, they removed the picture of a very old overall wearing white guy
Who was not part of
sitting
the
next to a
original sign
barrel.
of this company? Who was not
That
on the original sign?
Who wasn't on the original sign, but
Who
was
nobody
put
even
there.
really knows who it is in the first place.
In fact,
Nobody cares.
I watched the Fox News, I rewatched the Fox News broadcast about the Cracker Barrel logo, and the woman they brought on as expert to talk about how dumb it was that they removed the logo said, "I've been to Cracker Barrel," and then had to admit that she actually never even knew
believe
who
that.
Uncle Herschel was, and she
Huh.
hadn't realized he was on the sign. But it was really dumb of them for people who would be
This-
triggered about the traditional nature of the sign,
This
and
is
then
America.
said they have
Yeah.
been changing their menu and it's better. Like,
I don't believe that. This is America. Our average person could name more company logos, mascots than we could like flags of the United Nations. Okay, this is who we are in America, right? No
Yeah.
one has ever heard of this. This is not Colonel Sanders. This is not the Nike swoosh.
Colonel
This
Sanders
is not
is
Mickey
next,
Mouse. No one has ever heard of Uncle Herschel. It's not part of the canon of our pop culture. It never has been.
No.
In fact,
well,
most of us haven't even heard of Cracker Barrel. But
just
that's
think of it
another
this
point.
way: was this the like shot across the bow to Colonel Sanders? Like, is Colonel Sanders now worried? Like, is they
Well,
coming for
where
him
was
next?
that? Where are those? Where are the anti-woke brigade now? They should be mad at KFC, right? Because they took Kentucky out of their title, right?
Oh, but you
Where were
also
they
know that
screaming? Yeah.
they. I don't think they know this, but KFC is owned by a Chinese company called Yum Brands.
Well,
right?
that's
Like,
that's the other irony
that's
of this.
the other
which-
thing.
The other crazy irony of this whole story, which makes your head spin, is that the activist investor who constantly fights Cracker Barrel is a man named Sardar Biglari, who's Iranian.
Yeah, well, let's get to him because he's your next
But
potential one to blame.
but we all know that the MAGA people in our country and the anti-DEI people, they don't like people from the Middle East. So
No,
what
they
are we
don't.
doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, but okay. So first of all, Sardar Biglari, who's
Yeah.
a self-styled activist, who's called himself like a Warren Buffett kind of activist. His major stakes right now include Steak and Shake, Maxim Magazine, and Jack in the Box. So
That
just
sounds-
like Warren
all sounds
Buffett. Just like
terrible.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
But like you can forgive an Iranian who owns
No.
Maxim magazine because is there anything more American than like boobs and like guy tech that you don't
Okay, but
eat?
he
Like,
makes, but no offense, but he makes Buffett sound like William Faulkner. I mean, Maxim Magazine and Steak and
Well,
Shake. Buffett's a
okay.
little more esteemed
So-
than that.
So the reason why this is his 8th try at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah,
He-
that's right.
He's
Okay,
been trying to get this company for since 2011.
and let's talk about that Fox business because Fox
It do-
business
it
is all
doesn't
over
come
the
up.
story. We go after the proponents of shareholder proposals like they're ruining capitalism. How about going after Sardar Biglari for 8 failed, expensive, distracting campaigns? Where's the outcry about that? That's literally attacking capitalism in our country.
Well, let me read you from Sardar's letter to investors on November 6th that included his reasoning because he's the one pushing for Massino, the CEO, and Gilbert Davila, the DEI specialist, quote unquote, to get voted off the board. He targeted Davila. Like, it's his choice to target Davila. So he didn't target the chair of the board. The chair of the board is an old white guy. Like, he didn't target him. He targeted the brown guy on the board.
Well, and
right?
the
Like,
CEO.
and the CEO. So a
Yeah.
woman and a brown guy, not the chair. This
No.
is what he said in his letter, where
I read that letter.
This is his full reasoning. I'm not going to
Yeah.
edit it at all. His full reasoning
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
getting rid of Gilbert
I know this
Davila.
is true, and how I know this is true is that I actually cut and pasted the same thing in my section, but it is mind blowing. Go ahead.
This
ahead.
is the full reasoning, unedited.
Full reasoning, and I did a control find in this letter. His name only shows up 3 times, twice just to reference his name, and then this sentence. Go ahead.
Quote, and why does Mr. Davila, the board's so-called multicultural marketing expert who signed off on this debacle, deserve re-election?
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. That was his only argument in the entire letter about getting rid of this guy.
Yeah.
It's basically he's trying to trigger you because he said multicultural marketing. What is that? Who's?
Yeah,
What
and
is-
like in America, we don't want to market towards non-whites. What's the problem there? I don't. And by the way, first of all, do we have proof that he signed off on this debacle? Do we see the board vote? How do we know? And what about the rest of the board that signed off on this debacle? How do we know?
Well, he might have proof, but like
Yeah.
we know at least 2 groups that bought this idea, and they're last on the blame list here. ISS and Glass Lewis.
Oh, this
the
is
proxy
the other thing
advisors.
This is like trigger alert for how terrible ISS and Glass Lewis are. How
Who
low
not
they've
o-
sunk.
They didn't. They suggested voting for Messino, so keep the CEO, but against Gilbert Davila.
Why?
Racism. There's no other way. There's no
But
other
how?
explanation. There is like this guy has been on
I'm
the board.
okay with this.
He's been on the board since 2020. He's been on the board less than other people. The chair wasn't targeted. They say vote for the reason why they said vote. It's okay to vote for the CEO is it would be too much disruption, but that means they're going to vote against the brown guy for what? That there's no evidence that he had anything to do with this necessarily, and even if there was evidence that he had something to do with it, isn't he the guy that you would ask the specific question, how do we get other people to come to our
Yes,
store?
exactly. That's exactly my point. That's
That's
this
it.
is part of the turnaround plan here, which you need a turnaround plan, is to get customers, to get new customers. This guy has worked at Disney. He's worked at Sears, Coca-Cola. I mean, what's the problem? What's the problem?
The funny part actually is not the ISS and Glass Lewis said vote against him for reasons
not
that
the
are
C-
utterly
the
unclear,
CEO.
and not the CEO. Glass Lewis,
But it's her
also,
turnaround plan. It's her turnaround plan.
Glass Lewis also suggested another vote against that Biglari did not ask for, but Glass Lewis suggested that you vote against the chair of the nominating committee, not the chair of the board, the chair of the nominating committee. Also, another woman. Her name is Jody Bilney. And
Not one of the longest tenured directors.
Do you know how she got on the board? She was put there by Sardar Biglari in 2022. That
This
is
is
not
crazy.
a joke. That
Who
is
is this?
real.
This is Glass Lewis?
Glass Lewis said vote against her. So literally, there's no
Unbelievable.
consistency. We're
Unbelievable.
just voting against the brown guy and the woman for what? For no reason. No reason.
Why would anyone-
for a controversy that was driven by bots on the internet?
Why
Like,
would you
they already did a
use-
study?
Why would you use Glass Lewis or ISS? Why would you go to them? Why would you contract with them?
Your board
It's a
actually
joke.
was Messino and the board, and I can't believe I'm going to say this because Cracker Barrel is pointless. They are your solution.
Well, I'd
to
be fine if
Cracker
they went
Barrel.
out of business finally.
Like, I
mean,
don't
to
care
be
if they go out
honest.
of business, but they were your solution. That rebrand from like getting the picture of the guy and just making it say Cracker Barrel and then changing the menu slowly was maybe the only way you were going to salvage Cracker Barrel for a country that
you
even
need
the people
you need a
who
turnaround plan.
believe
Yeah.
in Cracker Barrel and meatloaf and canned beans, even they don't eat there. They for 10 years this company's been dropping
Yes,
like a
of course.
stone. we're
And the
gonna-
only people who are
Oust the
still
brown
eating
guy
out.
who said let's change a thing
the only people who are still eating out are like anywhere young people who are in debt, who go into restaurants and charging. So you want to appeal to young people. They're not going to go to a place with a barrel and a weird guy. Like,
And if you look at the pictures of the food, just
okay, but even
literally
beside that point,
not good.
if Glass Lewis and ISS had said, you know what, this turnaround plan sucks, we're going to blame the CEO. We're going to blame anyone that we're targeted for. We think that might be part of this plan. This, like we actually think that they should market only to white people in the South, and this guy represent whatever cockamamie idea they come up with, but to single him out, but not the C. I'm just confused and lost. Like this is just a nightmare.
The only explanation I have, and this is pure tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, is that the activist Biglari talks to
deal.
Glass Lewis and ISS,
Tough.
and that is like the compromise, right?
The
Like,
guy who's been trying. This is his 8th time that this is the guy they're listening to.
That-
This loudmouth.
that's the only explanation I can have
Yeah.
for, because there is no,
No, that's not
defensible
a- it's
reason
not a
why
good-
you'd
it's
vote
not a
that
good
vote
explanation.
that guy out. I didn't say it was like a good reason. It's indefensible to me, but like that's the only reason I could
so stupid.
see them doing it. So those are your
So
options.
who-
Do you
yeah.
blame the CEO? Do you blame the DEI specialist? Do you blame the activist Sardar Biglari or ISS and Glass Lewis?
I definitely. I got to go to. I'm going right to ISS and Glass Lewis for rubber
Really?
stamping this. I just think that we need them to speak out against this nonsense. We need them to have some like objective criteria to help figure this stuff out. But
I
But
do
they
like
make
that
it-
Glass Lewis trolled Biglari by saying also vote against the woman you put on the board in 2022.
But all of this is based on hyperbolic reporting around a few internet trolls who talked about a sign change. Nobody cared. It's just that some of the mainstream press started to pick up the fact that in social media people were complaining, and this whole thing has erupted into this. That ISS and Glass Lewis would go along with this is just it just makes the whole system just seem fake to me and unreal.
Can you
You shouldn't be in the business of recommending, because this is just I just find this to be what really it makes my head spin.
If you listen to the show and you're like an expert in marketing and or like logo like design or whatever, how many logo rebrands have happened in the last 20 years alone?
But they also don't
10,000? Like
yeah, and I will add
a
this
lot, right?
that this is not like an app. This is not like a company that you interact with their logo. Like people don't go to restaurants for their logos. They go by the quality of the service and food. That's basically it, right? I mean, there's no price. Maybe the other thing.
Yeah, price.
That's it.
Price and
No
quality.
No one's looking at the sign on their way in and like making some kind of a determination based on the sign. The whole thing is just so stupid. This is why I'm just angry at ISS and Glass Lewis for weighing in this way. They're making this seem like it's okay, and to me, none of it's okay. And
No. it's
and
all
again, this all began with reporting on internet trolls. This all started with a couple of people in social media complaining about a sign. Nobody cares. Nobody
stupid. Yeah.
cares.
Well, I think you're
Anyway.
probably wrong anyway. It probably
Yeah.
was the activist who's done this 8 times who we
Oh
can
no,
blame,
but he's that. but
named
this
the
is just
DEI specialist.
But that's the political theater of our time. I that's just the nonsense, the world that we live in. I
Oh,
thought
you're
that
you're
ISS
blaming the pretend adults.
Yes, I am. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
absolutely.
the pretend
Yes,
adults.
absolutely. Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
move on.
let's go on. Let's get out of
exhausted.
here. Headlines, winners, predictions. What do we think about doing blames
Oh.
instead of assholes?
I like it. But it riled me up a bit too much.
You got a headline of the week?
That Cracker Barrel story is just, it really gets me going. It's just such a farce.
Because
It really.
it's a joke. It's a joke.
If you want to write a
It's
book
not
about
real.
this stupid world of anti-DEI political theater we live in at corporations, that's your case, Cracker Barrel. What a disaster. My headline is the week. Okay, here we Zoran Mamdani, right? He won the mayorship in New York City a couple of weeks ago.
I heard that, yeah.
Every friggin' CEO, every rich person in New York, they donated all their money that could have gone right to women's shelters, to food pantries, to all the many needy resources in New York City. They threatened to leave. They said the whole city's going to collapse. Everything's going to fall apart. And here we're already at this headline. and this is from CNBC. This is not from like the New Republic or something. CNBC. We're already here. The headline is "No one leaving New York City because of Mamdani," say 2 top real estate CEOs. It was all bullshit.
Of course,
It was all just
bullshit.
a scare. I know, but like
They got first of all, you got to wait for him to even be inaugurated before you start leaving, right? Like now, everybody just sits back
these
and
scare
waits.
tactics, the way we foment like anti-DEI nonsense is just it's crazy to me. It's nonsense how we operate. It's crazy.
I saw this one, and it's better headline than yours.
No, yours is ridiculous.
The headline's not great, actually, but the context is. The headline is Why Palantir CEO Alex Karp Exhumed the Whole Yard of His Childhood Home.
Yeah, and I had read that he was basically bragging that this is one of the fun things of being so rich. Before you get to the story, why are there so many Alex Karp stories these days? Why?
Because there's a book
He's
coming
spouting
out, so
off?
all these
Oh.
quotes are
So they're
coming
put
out
there
now.
by the publisher. Okay.
So the reason why he exhumed is because of Rosebud. Oh, sorry, Rosita, his
Yeah.
childhood dog. You see what I did
Yeah.
there? You see the
Yeah,
Rosebud?
I did. Yeah.
That you saw that?
Mhm. Uh-huh.
And this is not a joke. The dog was
Citizen Karp. See what I
Yeah.
did there?
Oh, that's even better than mine.
Yeah.
That's a worse pun. The dog is named Rosita, and he wanted to rebury it in his New Hampshire home. And the university professor that owned Karp's childhood home balked initially at the
I know, because it's
idea,
stupid. Stupid.
then ultimately agreed, and the terms of the agreement were not disclosed, but Karp subsequently made a donation to the university where they taught.
Yeah, notice the university professors, they did it
You have
because
to beg a billionaire for
because
some
they
shit.
donated to the university. But if it was a CEO, they would have needed like multiple tranches to earn $1 trillion of personal wealth. That's the only way that you can make CEOs happy. But the professors were willing to donate it right to the university. See the difference?
Here's what Karp had to say. Rosita played a tremendous role in our life. It was more like she's very, very high IQ. It was honestly more like a human than a dog.
Oh, there
but
we go.
the dog did not, he didn't say this, but the dog did not graduate from an elite university. So he was cool with
Like
that
him
dog.
and his entire board, you mean?
Yes, he's
Yeah.
cool with that dog.
I hate that
All right.
headline. I hate it.
Who's the winner of the week?
I don't know why this show is so exhausting. My winner is very clear. That is a man named Jason Turner. He is a Walmart management associate who made about $170,000 last year. Why him? Why Jason Turner? He's the brother-in-law of the new Walmart CEO, John Furner. I mean, Jason
Wow.
Turner's life is about to get cush.
Oh,
Right?
wait a minute. Turner Furner? Is that
Oh, that's another fun. That's another fun angle. But come on, he's got to be the. You know that he's. I mean, you know how many
So-
days he's going to take off. You know how many golf matches he's going to go to, and
If you assume John Furner, new CEO's sister, I don't know her name, let's say Jane Furner, married
Turner.
Jason Turner, who
Yeah.
also works at Walmart. So is she now like
Furner
Jane Turner? So she, like her name basically didn't change.
well, she
from
hyphenated to
Furner
Furner Turner. Yeah.
I chose this winner. I have two winners. One is shoppers at Costco, because Target just rolled out this new thing. Target launches 10-4 training, encouraging workers to smile at customers.
Yeah.
Apparently, the
need that.
problem at Target was their sales suck, and no one wants to go there anymore because of the smiling, I guess is what they thought.
What does the 10-4 refer to?
So if employees are 10 feet away from a shopper, they
Yeah.
should smile, make eye contact, and wave.
Oh God, the wave is just putting it over the top.
If they are within 4 feet of the shopper, and please, no one get within 4 feet of
Yeah.
me. No one needs to be within 4 feet of me. If they're within 4 feet, they should personally greet the guests, smile, and initiate a warm and helpful interaction.
What do you mean personally greet? Like, hi, my name is Doug.
Well, can you think of a time? Think about how close 4 feet is. You reach your hand out, that's 4 feet. Can you think
Pre-COVID,
of
I was okay with it. Now I'm
Can-
kind of out. I'm out on that whole game.
Can you think of a time where if somebody was 4 feet or less from you, that they wouldn't say, "Hey," does it happen often when you're in a store and you're less than 4 feet and you don't have to like acknowledge their presence?
All I know is this: having made the switch
I love it.
officially from, all I know is this: I made the switch officially from Target to Costco. It's my one big massive box store guilty. It's not a pleasure, but it's where I go for big things like stupid things like dishwashing soap and all that. And we did reporting early this year, that Costco is supporting DEI and all that, and that the average wage is going to be up to $30 an hour. I'll tell you this, that might be the answer, because the workers
an hour, yeah.
the workers at Costco are incredibly helpful. They're incredibly friendly. They actually seem to want to work there. And my experience at Target is the opposite, and I'm guessing it's not because there was not a 10-4 rule.
Yeah,
I'm guessing because they're underpaid and they're miserable.
That's a good point. And this is the new CEO, Fidel.
That's right. The new old CEO who's been at Target for 30 years.
Been there for a while. This is his initiative.
Congratulations!
Initiative.
They're not going to make fun of this for months online.
My second winner is us. Because the Trump administration is currently investigating getting rid of shareholder proposals and shareholder voting.
I saw that. Well, we predicted that, unfortunately.
We predicted that, but that means we're going to be the one data provider to offer anything anymore. We're going to get rid of the proxy advisors. All right, any predictions?
My prediction is ISS and Glass Lewis announce a "We Give Up 2026" voting policy where any director who could be blamed for something because they have black or brown skin gets an automatic vote against recommendation.
Wow, we give up as who subscribes to that one, do you think?
Yeah, but as long as they could be blamed. They don't have it's not even have to be their fault, but they could be blamed by somebody. Somebody.
All right, I got this this is the headline I read.
Yeah.
Does a window seat on a plane need a window? United Airlines says not.
Oh.
So they're arguing that the window seat does not literally mean a window because they're under a lawsuit. So my prediction, Danone, the company Danone? Danone claims its silk almond milk does not contain almonds. And they pull the warning label off, and they put out a press release saying that almond milk does not literally mean almonds. It means more like almond-like milk-colored drink.
Okay, you lost me on that one. So what you're saying is that almond milk doesn't need almonds and window seats don't need windows? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying nothing needs to be what anybody says it is anymore. The prediction
that I understand.
The prediction is just, what do we need? You say window seat, but it's not a window seat. You got to sue them. Whatever. It's like nothing means what it means.
Yeah, sure. I'm with you.
Move on.
As long as the CEO gets a raise, I don't care.
Just give me the money. That's all we got. That's Hazelnut Rallis, Damian Rallis to his friends. I'm your honest old Matt Mascardi. We are Free Float. Come back next week. We got a proxy countdown next week. There's one more shareholder primacy before the Thanksgiving week in the U.S. is going to disrupt everything for us. But until then, good.